All right, so let's start with the big story that we are tracking on WION at this hour. Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei has given an address to the nation. After 13 days of protests across Iran, Khamenei has urged for unity amongst the people of Iran and also has sent a warning to the United States. In front of thousands of his supporters, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei issued a sharp rebuke to Donald Trump. Now, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei told Donald Trump to focus more on the problems that the American people face in his country rather than to meddle in the internal affairs of Iran.
ایرانی آلوده است در جنگ 12 روزه او اگه میتونه کشور خودش رو اداره کنه تو کشور خودش حوادث گوناگونی بود.
Now, Khamenei added that Donald Trump's hands were stained with the blood of more than 1,000 Iranians, and he's also predicted that Donald Trump will be overthrown like the Pahlavi dynasty of Iran was during the 1979 Islamic Revolution.
که معمولاً مستبدین و مستکبران عالم از قبیل فرعون و نمرود و رضاخان و محمد رضا و امثال اینها وقتی که در اوج غرور بودند سرنگون شدند. این هم سرنگون خواهد شد.
Khamenei also had a warning for the rioters who have resorted to violence and arson. Now, the Iranian Supreme Leader called them as vandals and saboteurs who, quote-unquote, wanted to please the American president by damaging Iranian public property. Khamenei further added that Iran will not tolerate mercenaries who work for foreigners and spread violence in the country. The protests in Iran started in the capital city of Tehran on the 28th of December. They began because of the currency, the rial, hitting record lows and also a cost of living crisis that has crippled the Iranian people. But in the span of the last 12 days, the protests have now spread across the country. The protesters marched on a key avenue in Tehran. The crowds of people as well as vehicles honked in support and filled a part of vast Ayatollah Kashani Boulevard. And other videos that have been published of the protests on the Kashani Boulevard in Tehran showed people chanting anti-government slogans, including "Death to the Dictator." And the Persian language TV channels based outside of Iran and other social media outlets have posted images of some significant protests in other cities, including in places like Tabriz in the north, Mashhad in the east, Isfahan in central Iran. And the demonstration seems to have grown after Reza Pahlavi, who happens to be the son of the Shah of Iran, who was ousted way back in 1979, called for mass action on Thursday. Now, the people were seen parking some of the major roads in Wakilabad district of Mashhad, which is home to one of Shiite Islam's holiest shrines. In Isfahan in central Iran, a building of Iran's state broadcaster was set on fire. As protests continue to simmer, online metrics show that Iran is now in the midst of a large-scale nationwide blackout. In view of the protests, the Turkish airlines have also cancelled about 5 of their flights to Tehran, and reports say that Emirates and Fly Dubai have also cancelled at least about 17 flights to Iranian cities. Now, 5 flights operated by the Iranian airlines have also been cancelled, and according to the airport app. The American President Donald Trump has said that he's tracking the protests in Iran very, very closely. In an interview, he was asked if Khamenei was looking to flee Iran and then go to Russia. Trump said that the Iranian Supreme Leader is indeed looking to flee from the country. Now, the American President Donald Trump has threatened to take severe action against Iran if the authorities there resort to killing any protesters. where Washington has warned, that is Donald Trump has warned, that America is locked and loaded and will hit Iran very hard. Now, this message came after the rights groups accused the Iranian security forces of shooting at demonstrators, with the Norway-based NGO Iran Human Rights saying that security forces had killed about 45 people, including 8 minors, since the demonstrations began. Now, the NGO also said on Wednesday was the bloodiest day of the demonstrations, with about 13 protesters having been killed in these demonstrations. All right, now joining us all the way from Casablanca in Morocco is Mr. Hafid Boutaleb, who is a geopolitics and international affairs analyst. Mr. Boutaleb, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on WION. Now, in your assessment, the fact that the protests have now gone on for about 13 long days, what do you think is driving this protest? How much of it is internal discontent because of the plummeting rial, and how much of it is being fomented from outside of Iran?
I think essentially it is because of internal issues. There is, of course, the Iranian currency that is plummeting. There is also the soaring cost of life, the inflation, the overall economic deterioration, the water stress, the droughts that is severely hitting the capital. That is a large capital. Let's say that Iran is 92 million people, and the Tehran is 13 million people. So we are talking about a big country with serious economic issues. There is also the repression. Last year, 25 witnessed 1,500 executions. It is a record, a 47 years record since the Islamic Revolution started. It's a huge figure. There are multiple reasons, but the main reason would be the inflation and the economic deterioration rather than political. Although we can notice since 2 days that the political slogans are replacing the economic slogans. However, the main reason, and that explains also the reaction of the bazaar. You know that all political observers of Iran would say that but the bazaar, which are the commerçants of the downtown Tehran, they usually support the regime, but because of this economic situation, the bazaar has switched allegiance now to the street. And this is a serious concern. The other concern is to see that the Farsi heartland, with cities like Tehran, are joining massively the protest, which was not during the Masa Amini protests and other protests, where there was Tehran, Isfahan was quite mildly joining the protests. The news now is that the Farsi heartland, the south, around Isfahan, which is, let's say, Iran is 60% from ethnic Farsi people, and the Farsi now also are rejecting this deterioration.
Interesting. Now, there have been comments that have been made by Donald Trump repeatedly, and we also heard Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, in his address earlier this afternoon, where he asked for the people of Iran to stay united. Now, Donald Trump has been making repeated comments saying that the United States is locked and loaded, and on being when he was asked, is Ayatollah Ali Khamenei probably looking to flee from Iran, Trump agreed to that. In your assessment, what sort of an impact do the comments by Donald Trump have on what is unfolding at this moment in Iran?
I think the real question, if I can do so, is what is the impact of what says the Khamenei on Donald Trump?
Right.
Because we know that Donald Trump is very sensitive to verbal escalations. And if I was one of the advisors of Khamenei, I would strongly advise him to avoid any verbal escalations in order to avoid to have Donald Trump drones and airplanes targeting again Iran. And the internal situation is incredibly serious. As you said, if Khamenei describes Donald Trump as a dictator that is going to fall, the street in Tehran and Isfahan and other cities are more likely to describe Khamenei himself as a bloody dictator. So the situation today and the stance of Khamenei is quite very fragile. After 4 different protests in less than 5 years, the domestic situation in Iran is very, very tense.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Boutaleb, for joining us from Casablanca in Morocco and getting us that perspective there.
With pleasure.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.